There's fire on the mountain in Nigeria as far as insecurity is concerned, and it appears those at the helm of affairs are beginning to run. The Senate had a stormy session over the matter, leading to opposition senators storming out of plenary. They issued a six-week ultimatum to President Muhammadu Buhari to tackle rising insecurity in the country or be impeached. Barely 24 hours after, President Buhari summoned a National Security Council meeting in Abuja. The emergency meeting, which had the National Security Advisor, retired Major-General Babagana Monguno, Minister of Defense, retired Major-General Bashir Magashi, that of Police Affairs, Maigari Dingyadi, and security chiefs in attendance. It was expected to reassess the current security situation across the country. Gentlemen, meetings upon meetings, ultimatum upon ultimatum without results, making it look like... Mikhail, help me out.
Yeah, we expected that there will be a meeting, an emergency meeting after this. What we do not yet know is whether the meeting would deliver what we expect. And what do we expect? An improvement in the security situation of our country. Mr. President has received tremendous support from the National Assembly. There is no reason in the world for the support that he enjoys to not be justified. Appropriation for defense is always huge. For internal security is always huge. This is not an adversarial National Assembly. They support the president all the way. But one thing we have noticed over the years is that these lawmakers would pass resolutions talking about how they expect the executive to go, the direction they expect the executive to go in defeating insecurity. But what we usually see is that the resolutions go, get ignored. I remember the chairman of the Senate Committee on the Army, Senator Aliun Dume, complaining on the floor of the Senate that when he gets to heaven on Judgment Day, he's going to point at the Senate president that he didn't lead them well, and that for that reason, people are dying. He said is going to give an excuse to God that this is the person who is our leader. It's not my fault, sir. This is the person who is our leader. He said that he spoke with so much anger. That's a senator from the ruling party. We also had Senator Smart Adeyemi speak in the same vein. But those such demonstrations of anger have not translated to improvement in any way in the security of our people and their properties. We see things even degenerating. Gun attack on a church in Owo. Nobody could have predicted it. Nobody could have predicted it. Bandits are now behaving like they own the rest of us, or that the rest of us are even their slaves. We are surrendering the initiative to bandits. Because when you now order schools to be closed, there are two ways by which people can look at it. yes, it's a proactive step to ensure that bandits don't come and seize those school children and take them away. But it also will suggest to people that because you are not convinced that you have what it takes to stop it from happening, then you've taken the steps, the step to just evacuate those schools. And that's what we've seen in many parts of the Northwest. Boarding facilities have been scrapped in public schools. Public schools in semi-urban and rural areas are being shut. People are now free to go to school in the urban centers, in the state capitals. I've never seen anything this bad. So if we got to the point that in the Senate, they had a closed-door session where it was decided that, look, let's get this message across to Mr. President that he needs, that we want him to cause an improvement to happen in the security of our country within 6 weeks, after which we will then decide on the next course of action. But the PDP members, according to Senator Smart Adeyemi, nobody in plenary disagreed with the idea of issuing an ultimatum. Okay. But the PDP guys now came out to follow that up by asking, by proposing to impeach. Of course, Ahmed Lawan will not sit there and encourage an impeachment motion to happen. Even if in the course of the meeting, all of you agreed to it. Once it gets to the open session, he's going to do everything to frustrate it. That is why the PDP will realize why it pays to be in the majority. Because some of your schemes, some of your plans can easily be frustrated by the majority, no matter how lofty those ideas are. But I'm happy about one thing. That is, judging from what Senator Smart Adeyemi said, a preponderance of these senators agree. No matter what we call them, we can call them rubber stamp, we won't be far from the truth. But a preponderance of those senators agree that we have reached the point now that we must get the message across to Mr. President that it is wrong for us to continue to stay unprotected and that something drastic must happen within a short time. Yes, 6 weeks. So let's see what will happen, although it's a bit also shocking to me that at such a difficult time, they decided to run away. I
wanted to say that.
On a break. They are meant to come back September 20th. If you don't take steps to solve the problem, by the time you come back in September, the problem will still remain. So the earlier, they have said that they could call an emergency session, even in the course of their break. But it makes sense to try to solve a problem before proceeding on break, because where you are going, there's no guarantee that where you are going is safe. If Abuja now, out of 6 area councils, they've attacked 2. So that solved the problem before proceeding on break. I think that would have been the right thing for them to do.
Adekunle, let me have your thoughts.
I don't want to use, unkind words for this Senate. But every Nigerian knows that the best word to use for this Senate is yes men, yes women, you could rubber stamp, Senate. We've never had it this way. And I won't say the worst, but I will see it as the worst pro-executive, National Assembly, both arms. And when you look at the kind of calamities, that have befallen our country in the past few years, and the legislature, that arm of government that is meant to put the executive on its toes, is incapacitated, weak, and asleep. So what do we have? See, in this kind of thing, leadership matters. Is key. You see, you are in the midst of a big crisis, then you go to sleep. That's the right way to interpret what the Senate has done. You want to go on recess over what? At a time there is a national fire that should be put out by every patriot. Now you want to go, even in your various constituencies, as Jide said, who told you that you are safe? That you may even come back alive. Nigerians are dying every day. And when you look at the level of insecurity in Nigeria, it's unprecedented. We've never had it this bad.
It's terrible.
So when somebody says we are holding meetings, that's the normal thing they do. What have we ever seen after such meetings? More of the same. Terrible same. So it's not that after such meetings, they just come around, talk, blah, 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 just like all movements, all motion without movement. Nothing. Just like a mere effusion of gas. Nothing. Signifying nothing.
All right, gentlemen, we still have more to discuss on this particular issue, but let's go for a quick break. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. You're still watching Journalist Hangouts, and I'm in the studio today with Babajide Kolade-Otitoju and Adekunle Yusuf. Before we went on that break, we were talking about security issues. Bikio, a lot of Nigerians are frustrated. Now, if terrorists have, gotten so bold to threaten the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, attack the military guard, governors are now very frustrated. When will Nigerians not resort to self-help?
You see, many people like to resort to self-help, but not against people who are well-armed like this. You pay with your life. Vigilantes have been slaughtered in large numbers by these bandits. They have some very dangerous weapons. So people who have the capacity, the capability to kill soldiers, are you going to confront them with them guns when they have GPMG? Some of them have some weapons too that some NATO weapons that they got through the black market, sneaked into our country through Libya, Chad axis. So, they're the people that you go and confront. Some of the bloodiest nights that we've seen in the Northwest, talking about bandits attacking communities, happened when the people tried to stand up to them. You hear up to 80 killed in one day, even 100, 120 in Katsina. On the day Goodluck Jonathan went to Katsina to campaign in 2015, 120 persons were killed by bandits. 120 persons. They had come back to avenge the attack on them by vigilantes. That's usually what happens. Look at the killings in Kebbi South. This Wasugu, all those areas in Zulu Emirate. They were in response to people standing up to them. You are not as armed as they are, so it's already like a mismatch. What we want to see, and some of our leaders who are asking the people to defend themselves, they are just irresponsible. You can't tell people who have not got the kind of weapons that these boys have to defend themselves. It's your responsibility to put measures in place that ensure that the people are safe. You've got to mobilize our troops who are paid from taxpayers' money to protect us to go defend our people, not to be encouraging our people to stand up to people some of them. If you saw the video of these bandits when they kidnapped the government secondary school Kagara in Niger State, they had RPG, and the RPG is a tank buster. It's used to destroy tanks, but they fire it at people. So you can imagine the impact, the destruction that it will cause when something meant to destroy armored tanks. Armored tanks are known for thick armor. You now fire it at people. Within a 50-meter radius, anybody in that area is gone. And they use it. So I don't subscribe to this idea of self-help because it will not help our people. It will not help our. Let the Nigerian military and the armed forces generally should be able to exterminate these people if the strategy is right, if they are provided with what they need. Most of the time, and they work in tandem. The Air Force, knowing that the army is headed in this direction, and they provide air cover. We have unmanned area vehicles, drones. You send drones in the direction of the enemy so that you can know the precise position of the enemy. Not that soldiers, surface troops, will just simply be going as if blindfolded to an area. Of course, they'll walk into an ambush. So our approach has to change. We should realize that this is not conventional warfare. This is asymmetric warfare. So our approach, the kind of training that our people get in the military schools, may not apply in dealing with these good-for-nothing people. Honestly, the approach has to change.
Adequately. Ine Abaribe made some accusations which some Nigerians would really understand his frustrations. It says there appears to be a collusion between the government and the perpetrators of this terror.
How I wish the government will respond in a way that we put to rest such speculations. But the government is always working to prove such speculators right. You can, how many do you want to mention? We know what this government inherited. There were crises before they came in. But most Nigerians, and I use the word deliberately, most Nigerians believed then, I was talking about 2015, that a retired, military general with a background, with his credentials, with everything, will be able to handle the Boko Haram insurgency better than a Goodluck Jonathan, who is not that endowed in terms of military, antecedents. Believe me, the people know the true situation now. So we moved from, as we were saying that time, we had 14 local governments where Boko Haram hosted their flags and Today, what do we have? Under a retired general, we moved from a little crisis in a small part of Nigeria to a crisis that has enveloped the entire length and breadth of Nigeria, with an administration that is completely clueless about what to do. And even when you hear certain statements from the president, you know that we should just continue to pray. You get my point? Even from some of his aides. So I'm not trying to carpet anything, but this is just, we just have to talk about it. Right. There's nothing this government has done in terms of security that has helped. It has always got worse. And from, reports we have today, apart from the last time the attack in Ondo State, there was another attack today. Is that a sign of a government that is proactive, that is working hard? No, that's not. We get People get killed every day, attacked every day in very many parts of Nigeria. It's so sad, and that's why everybody wants to have a gun and protect themselves, which will lead to further anarchy.
All right, Adekunle, we have Prince from Lagos. Prince, are you there?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Babajide, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Prince.
Yeah. I want to, I have been following your program for a very long time. The Tucano you talk about, what happened to the Tucano jet the federal government bought?
They are there. They are doing very well in the Northeast. They are doing
Sir?
very well. They are doing very well in the Northeast, and they play a big part in the successes that we are recording in the Northeast. The Northeast is not as bad as it used to be. It's a lot safer now. Thanks to the Tucanos, thanks to the unmanned area vehicles, thanks to the revitalization of the T-72 main battle tanks and other weapons that have been supplied. So we are doing very well in the Northeast. But the Tucanos, the Americans have said we cannot use the Tucano outside the Northeast. That is the agreement that we signed with them, because we said we wanted to use it against terrorists. But in the Northwest, the Americans don't reckon with the fact that those operating in the Northwest at this time are terrorists. So they are not allowing us to use the Tucano in the Northwest. And if you insist on using it, I can tell you they will get to know the supply of spears will stop. The training that they're giving our men will stop. At the end of the day, it will become a bad business. So Nigeria is not prepared to take that risk now and use the Tucano in places where you agree that you will not use them from the beginning. So this is the situation. It's not as if the Tucanos are not doing well. They are doing very well in the Northeast. I can testify to that because I went there. I saw the Tucanos in action.
All right. Thank you very much, Prince. I hope BKO has done justice to that. All right, BKO, your last take on this before we move on quickly.
I just think that we should see security as the biggest problem confronting our nation. For the past 3 years or so, it's clearly been the biggest problem confronting our nation. There is a need to treat it like a real emergency. Emergency, not just as a spoken word. Emergency in terms of our response to the problem at hand. The response is not good enough. The strategy is not good enough. The coordination is not good enough.
And the result,
the armed forces, and is reflecting
in the result.
In the absence of the right result. There is no reason in the world for a bunch of good-for-nothing people to go and attack a prison and operate for more than 2 hours in the seat of power, not far from the airport, which is the gateway to our nation. There are so many things that Nigerians are not happy about. And this government must realize that if it does not defeat insecurity or cause an improvement to happen, it's going to cost it a lot of support ahead of the 2023 elections.